everyone. Though no one's here yet. So, I'll do this. Boom. Holly's here today, but not here today because she is going to be calling in. So, I'm just going to send the link out to everyone who's coming on. And she may be a little bit late. But we'll see. Anyway, so tonight we're gonna have a good time. We're gonna be talking about Ditty, Epstein, ICE ambushes, the big beautiful bill, the wonder that we're everything that we were promised that we are not going to get, obviously. Yeah. But anyways, so I'm excited. I'm excited that Holly's back. She was going to be in studio today, but unfortunately she can't make it. So maybe we'll get her on. We've got Spencer Peck on. He's running for City Council out here in Tooele. But until that happens, until he comes on, I think at 6:30 is when he's coming on. Yeah. And then, of course, if you guys have anything you want to talk about, we'll cover that. So that's it. Yeah. I'm not sure what time she'll be able to make it on. Hopefully soon. Let me just let her know the link was sent. And we'll do, I guess, a slow spool up of all this. Oh, and I hope everyone had a good 4th of July last week. We were going to try to do the show on Thursday, but things just couldn't come together. So we didn't have a show. I didn't think it'd be worth it to try to pull a show off while everyone's out watching fireworks and everything else. So we didn't have one. And yep. Well, that's working. Okay. All right. Yeah. And then hopefully she gets on soon. But I want to kick off with the Ditty stuff, because maybe it shouldn't have interested me that much, but Ditty was overcharged, I think. That's my read on it. I'm not a lawyer. Matter of fact, if there is such a thing as a lawyer, I'm the furthest thing from it. But he was way overcharged. And James Comey's daughter was the prosecuting attorney on that. And I'm like, So here's a question for anyone who's anyone paying attention. Does it seem like government and politics have become a family business? Right? Because, So if Comey's daughter is the prosecutor on that. I mean, that means she followed her old man into government law, government criminal law, you know. And so it just makes me wonder, are we looking at like it's become, I don't want to say nepotistic, because I'm sure she earned her way in there. I mean, she went to law school and did all that. But then the conspiracy side pops up, like, what if there is this big old scandal and the government is using, you know, these different, you know, hurting kid groups to get junk on other people so they have them under control and they can, you know, steer the ship. What if that is the case? And what if she was assigned to that with the orders to overcharge so that the important stuff doesn't stick? And we'll go through everything that he got with as soon as Holly gets here. I don't want to do too much. I just want to have my conspiratorial fun before she gets here, before she makes me be all serious and professional and whatnot. But what if it's all like the worst things that Mae Russell and Alex Jones say it is? What if it is all that? Just because this is too crazy. Way too crazy. You know? I mean, it's just, man. So Comey, the guy who was the FBI agent under Obama, who was a part of, oh, here's Holly now. Okay. She's ready. Hi, Holly.
Hi, friend.
We were just, I was just waxing poetic before you got here.
Oh, don't let me intrude. You go ahead.
Well, I wanted to get it out before you got here. I was just talking about how, oh, I've got to change the name here too.
I'll close my ears. You go ahead.
I was just talking about how P. Ditty got off.
Oh my God. Yeah. My goodness.
Right? So P. Ditty gets off because they overcharged him, is what it looks like. They went after stuff that.
How convenient.
And who was the prosecuting attorney?
I don't know. In New York City, was it what's her face?
It was Comey's daughter.
Did not know that.
How is it that it seems like government has become a family business anymore?
Oh, always.
And okay, yeah, maybe always, but what if, just spitballing here, stop me if I step out of bounds.
Okay, stop. You usually step out of bounds.
I ain't even started yet.
I know, but I know you.
Let me get, well. Okay, stop me if I get 3 steps out of bounds.
Okay.
But what if P. Ditty and Epstein were both these blackmail artists for intelligence agencies, domestic and foreign, which I'm a firm believer of, and she was told to overcharge so that he did kind of get away with it. You know, gets a little retirement package out of him. What if?
I don't think you are wrong. Overcharging sometimes is exactly how they can make it look like they're taking something extremely serious, and then you have to go, oh no, when they don't get found guilty because it doesn't match the law requirement or the statute in order to charge or to meet that. And they know that. They're just, oh, it bugs, man. There is so much going on in this world that where do we even start, right?
Yeah. So P. Diddy got away with whatever he was doing. I'm sure that Johnson & Johnson, the producers of baby oil, was quite nervous there for a minute. They were probably batting down the hatches and looking at their 401ks, wondering if maybe they could, reinforce that somehow, selling something. But P. Diddy is free, and Johnson & Johnson employees shall have an established retirement now. They will. Their future is secure. I hope they didn't jump the gun and lay people off. I know P. Diddy was out of the market for 3 months, and I hope Johnson & Johnson was able to.
Are you wrapping this up?
Yes.
This trail that you're
yes.
taking down?
I'm hoping that Johnson & Johnson was able to hold strong and not lay off too many people in that few months that P. Diddy was out of the market.
Yeah,
that's it.
I get it. You're really sweet to think of them.
Hey, I am.
So hi, Jordan. Jordan
yes.
is saying hi, and I've been MIA for a while, as you all have noticed.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I think maybe many of you have noticed. And I've had some pretty life-altering, hopefully.
She had a baby, guys.
Yeah.
Ellie had a baby. It was last minute. We didn't know about it.
I needed a tax write-off,
Yes.
But I did have medical stuff going on, and I've been in recovery for the last 4 weeks. And so I'm hopefully going to get back to life. And so I appreciate Jared. I appreciate you, friend. And I just love you. And I missed the show so badly. And the people, Jordan and Fred, and Thomas, and just there's too many people to name. I just love our audience, and I've gotten some incredible support from members of this audience and good friends of mine who just came in clutch. And I cannot say thank you enough. It's been amazing to get so much love and support. And that goes for you too, Jared. Thank you.
You're very welcome. I'm glad that I held the seat warm for you. And we got to thank Carrie and Katie for coming on all those times and stepping in, and they did great. I mean, it was a good time.
Yeah, it was really cool. Are we live on YouTube right now under Political Head Trauma or under KMMU?
Well, it would be under both.
Because I'm not seeing us on the page, but I'm going to check KMMU. But you guys, remember to like and subscribe and leave comments, even if you hate what we're saying.
Especially if you hate what we're saying.
Tell us. And I didn't really have a baby, Jordan. But thank you. I wish.
He says he's currently taking a break from a movement that he's been volunteering for. Jordan, you want to tell us more about that movement? Shout it out a little bit, unless, of course, it's, the great supporters of P. Ditty and JeffEpstein.com. Then don't. But other than that, we'll see what you got.
Do you want to talk about Epstein?
There's another one. I don't know. You know what? What would be best? What do you would it be best to get Epstein out of the way now and then talk about the big, beautiful letdown when Spencer comes on?
As a Republican, and an avid Trump supporter who put my money where my mouth is, who walked and knocked on doors, who traveled all the way to Milwaukee to get this man elected, who believed in him wholeheartedly, and I still do believe in him. But I am very disappointed in this whole let's just forget about Epstein. And there's no file on him. This case is closed.
Who?
What?
Who are they talking about? This story's
This is
so old.
insane to me, especially when it was a huge running issue.
I mean, it's not like Virginia Dufresne committed suicide, what, 2 months ago? I mean, that's the big victim of, or the public victim. Then again,
Yeah,
she
one
did
of
get
them.
run over by a bus, but the bus driver said that never happened. Too many. When I die, I think I'm going to make up a story and say my last words, so it just throws the world into chaos.
Can you tell me this? Yeah, so you've probably heard the tapes that she supposedly made and gave to her lawyer to hold.
I haven't
and
heard
send
the
out
tapes.
to media
I've heard of
outlets.
them.
I don't know if they're real or if someone's put together AI using her voice. I don't know what her voice sounds like, but I've seen these videos where it's not, it just sounds horrific what she's saying.
Mm-hmm.
And if it's true, oh my goodness, if they're real, again, I don't know if they are, and I don't like to advertise something that we find out is fake. I would like to know, but every place I go to look for research, I keep thinking, if she really did this, these would be on every headline all over the country, because she said she sent these out to select media outlets in the event of her death.
Unless those media outlets are in on the cover up, which, let's face it, that one was at ABC, that lady who we had the story and we sat on it for 2 years, but they wanted access to the palace. So, on the hot mic. So I don't know.
It's frustrating. It's very frustrating, especially when we're talking about Kash Patel and the expectation. Dan Bongino. I mean,
he might be quitting today. So
you look at Tucker Carlson, who seems to be going to war with these same politicians. He helped get elected, just like Elon Musk, and he is asking hard questions. I mean, watching the Ted Cruz interview was like, oh my word, I was getting anxiety watching it, because I love both of these men. They are really good men. But Ted Cruz did not fare well in that interview. And Tucker came off extremely nasty.
He did. Let me ask you this, though. Why does it seem like in that interview, Ted Cruz was elected by the state of Israel to be our senator?
Because Tucker called him out on a number. Well, he called him out on the donors, for one, and also on the Bible. And like Ted Cruz, I've always interpreted the Bible to say that we need to stand with Israel, meaning the people of Israel, the Jews, because when Israel falls, that's when the world falls. Now, it just really made me take a hard look. Like, what exactly is the scripture? And Israel wasn't like Israel when the Bible was written. So does it mean just the Jewish people, the chosen ones? Or does it mean it does say the nation of Israel, I believe, in Genesis. But
in Genesis?
Yeah, I think he said Genesis.
Genesis, I don't think would say the nation of Israel, because Israel doesn't come around till like 4 generations after Abraham, which is
let me see what
how many generations after Adam, which Genesis is written for Adam. Is that right? I haven't read the Bible. If anyone out there has read the Bible, let me know. But yeah, Jordan says, I wish I could see Tulsi again and tell her about my political journey. Congrats on the baby. I met the libertarian vice chairman. It was great.
Oh, Tulsi, there's another person.
She's been awful quiet.
And she's been left out of meetings. And because she wasn't quiet, she said something that Trump didn't agree with regarding her.
Yes, it's Trump. I don't know. Is it better that we have Trump, the kind of crazy, erratic guy right now? Or would it be better if we had a not erratic Trump? If we had a Trump that was more, I mean, the big thing that she probably got mad about was bombing Iran. Which, yeah. I mean, look, let's face it. When Tucker Carlson labeled how many people live in Iran and all that, that's because Tucker Carlson looked it up earlier that day. Just he was lined up to ask that question. But
journalists do, right?
And obviously he should. But there is some consternation with us going to war for a foreign country over and over and over again. You look at the history of this, and we have ended up spending a lot of our blood and treasure for Israel over and over again. And I'm not saying we need to ditch Israel, but I think, are we enabling them at some point?
Well, if you take the word Israel out and you put in Ukraine, it's amazing how different the views of the people are. We've asked Ukraine to stand on their own 2 feet. Now they come back wanting $40 billion a year and hands out again. They want us to rebuild them. I'm sick of rebuilding countries. Hey, I've got that the Bible verse.
Okay.
Genesis 12:3 states, I will bless those who bless you, and whoever curses you, I will curse, highlighting God's promise to bless those who support Israel and to curse those who oppose it.
Is that okay? Is this like a Cliff Notes on the side written where it says that? Or is this from the...
Yeah, this is, and then Psalms 122:6 calls on believers to pray for the peace of Jerusalem, emphasizing the importance of interceding the city's well-being and security. They can be, I mean, I have the exact, so that Genesis, this verse, part of the Abrahamic.
Because when he says, I will bless who blesses you, that could be God talking on an individual basis.
He's saying God will bless those who bless Abraham's descendants.
Okay.
And curse those who curse them.
Okay.
The Psalms 1, the passage directly commands believers to pray for the peace and prosperity of Jerusalem.
A city.
Mm-hmm. And Ezekiel, did you send the link to Spencer?
I did.
On where? On that email?
I did.
All right, I'll let him know.
Just a minute ago.
God's promise to gather the Israelites back to their land and make them one nation, highlighting the restoration of Israel as a central theme in biblical prophecy.
See, I am not
governments. I think they're referring to the believers, the Jewish people.
Sure, and it's funny that Christians have opted to take on that model. But here's my thing. I look back through history and it seems like a lot lately where we're sure willing to throw our lot in to make sure that they're healthy and okay. But, when we have hard times here, we get platitudes.
You're right.
And maybe I'm wrong. Maybe the Almighty God says we need to make sure we take care of them above all else. Lay down our blood and treasure for them.
But when that was written, there was no United States.
No, nor was there in Israel. Nor was there
Jerusalem.
Nor was there European bloodline Jews. Nor was there a New Testament. Nor was there a Jesus.
Yeah. Who was the king of the Jews. It's interesting. That was a big topic in the Tucker Carlson versus Ted Cruz. And that was one thing that Tucker brought up. Are we talking about we're supposed to follow and support the government of Israel? Or does it mean the people? Because Tucker is a Christian, as is Ted Cruz.
Yeah.
Ted Cruz said, I was always raised that, like I thought, that if Israel falls, so does the rest of the world. And
how does that work? How is Israel? Let me ask this, how is Benjamin Netanyahu?
I never took it as
how is he the linchpin for the health and well-being of the world? How is the country with whom the secrets to the nuclear bomb were stolen and funneled through to the Soviet Union? Maybe that was it. Maybe making sure that technology was distributed around the world so that it didn't get used again. Maybe you're right. But how is it that is the linchpin to the health and well-being of the world?
I don't know.
Does it go beyond the world? Is it for the health and well-being of the whole universe?
Well, and I always understood it that if Israel falls, that is when Jesus returns. And that's when the 1,000 years under Jesus happens. And so
Ted Cruz doesn't want Jesus to come back.
No, I don't know. And here's the problem with people like Iran. We all want Jesus to come back. But again.
But he's fighting to have.
The problem with Iran and nukes is that they are Islamists who believe that in order to bring their second coming, they need to speed it up by causing the world to end.
Here's
they control their second coming of their whatever leader. I'm not sure, but their job is to bring it here, to get it here faster by bringing destruction to the world. That's what bring their guy.
They say that, but it's funny, the country of Iran has never invaded anyone.
That is funny.
It's comical. They're the big evil one, but they've never.
But haven't they launched missiles to Israel? I mean,
sure. Has Israel not launched stuff into Iran?
So you're talking about an army going into another nation, not just.
I'm talking about a conquering invasion.
Aren't they the Persians back in the Greek era?
Well, yes.
Persians dominated and conquered all?
Sure, but I said the country of Iran. I didn't say the genetically bloodline people. You're digging all the way back to Persia, which of course Persia included Iraq at the time.
I'm just making it like I've seen the movie 300.
Off and on, all of that, yes. Which is funny, that movie 300. The funny thing is you know how they portrayed the Persians as evil and the Greeks as good?
The Spartans?
Yes. Well, the Greeks in total. I mean, they had Athenians there and you know that one of those two groups didn't allow slavery. Persia? One of those two groups honored Human rights.
Well, I saw the movie, and the king or whatever, the god of Persia, he had people carrying him around.
Sure, that's from the comic book.
The
You know what
documentary.
the Spartans, you know how the Spartans honed their young men? Is once a year they would declare war on their slaves. It would be like a week-long festival where their young men not only could, but should cull their slave herd.
What does that mean? That's horrendous.
That means they would go around the towns and cities, well, the city of Sparta, and kill them.
That's horrible.
No, I know. But
I need to fix my chair. I'm sitting way too.
I noticed that you're like dancing over there. Anyway, so Spencer signed in, but before we bring him on, let's go through these Jordan comments. He says, I heard an Epstein victim, and she named Bill Clinton as is involved.
I believe
Maria,
Obama was also named.
Yeah, Maria Farmer is the Epstein victim. The FBI wanted Maria Farmer to testify. The Epstein stuff seems wild, though. And then he says, we should rebuild America totally. Rebuild America into something greater. Greater roads, less taxes, and less wars. I completely agree. And then he said a second coming party with Jared and Holly.
Yeah, sorry. And those of you that understand this all, please chime in, because we're looking to be educated. In fact, Spencer might know some of the answers to this question. Hi, Spencer.
He's kicking off. I don't know anything. Don't include me in this crazy talk.
I will. I'll tell you what I told the Tooele County Board of Realtors today when they asked me why I was running. I said, if I don't know the answer to a question, I'm not going to try to make something up. I'll just tell you I don't know.
So Spencer is running for Tooele City Council, and I do want to. I'm really excited because you're also well known in our community for being just an honorable business and somebody that people trust and call upon for their plumbing and contracting needs. And Spencer's wife is also an honorable member of our community as Tooele's own House of Representative member, and Nicolene. So she's a great friend of the show, and we're so excited to have you here, Spencer, because you're very, very smart, and you're just the best person. I'm so honored to know you. And what we were talking about before, I'm just going to throw you into the sharks because you are a Christian man, and we were talking about the Ted Cruz and Carlton Tucker Carlson. And we were talking about the interview, and I don't know if you saw it, but Ted Cruz was saying that in the Bible, it tells us that we need to support Israel, or, those who curse Israel shall be cursed, and those who support will be supported. And Tucker's like, you mean the government of Israel, or do you mean the Jewish people? And so I was showing a couple of different parts of the Bible, just some that talk about that very thing. And I'm just curious, as Christians, are we told in the Bible to support Israel, the government, or the world? If Israel falls, so does the world. And that brings back Jesus, from what I thought I understood it, that Jesus will have the second coming if the world is, but I'm not sure exactly. Do you have any thoughts on that? Did you see the interview?
I didn't see the interview, but my personal opinion is we need to support, not necessarily a government, because governments are created by man.
Right.
And so if we're looking to a government of God or of Christianity, I believe that's what that would refer to. Now, if you're talking about, do we support Israel as a nation or as a Christian nation? Yes. Do I support the war? I support what Israel's fighting for. because they don't want to be oppressed. They don't want to be dominated by anyone, nor should they be dominated by anybody. They want freedom just like everybody else. And so it doesn't matter what religion you are. I don't think if you believe in God, we're all brothers and sisters, and we should be fighting for each other in those beliefs and religious freedom, which is part of what Israel is fighting for in this war, is for their religious freedom. So, I mean, you look at the attack on Jewish people in our own country. Why are they being attacked? Because they're Jewish? That's no reason to attack someone, and so just because of their belief. So, they don't want to be oppressed. I mean, that's my opinion of what the Bible would refer to as is protecting a belief that anybody could practice religion however they want. That should never be denied to any person.
Do you see it as something that the United States should be getting involved in, or do you more see it that Israel should handle it however Israel feels it's best? And like Ukraine, that I know a lot of Americans are really tired of doling out the tax dollars to Ukraine, and then we're told we need to rebuild Ukraine. If you took Ukraine and replaced it with Israel, Americans are so done. But if you were to talk about Israel, we're in a whole different way, because I'm confident that if Israel wants to take on a nation, they have everything they need.
Sure. I think as far as Ukraine, I think what the people are tired of, including myself, is where's all the money going?
Yeah.
I don't see Ukraine as necessarily as strong as ally as Israel is to the U.S., which is why I think there's more support going there. I've read the interviews with Zelensky and President Trump. That would be my first question. I would say, President Zelensky, I need an accounting of where all the billions of dollars that we have given you, where is it going? Now, it may not be an honest accounting, but I would want to at least see something. Where is the money we're giving you being spent? Are people being paid off? Is it being given towards corrupt person or situations? Where is it all going? Now, the stuff we give Israel, I think we have a better idea of where it's going. And that's why I think people are a little bit more supportive of that. And they're our greatest ally in that region. And we need allies in that region. That's my take on it.
That's fair. I mean,
well, I just want to mention, I don't think that's an apples to apples comparison on where the money went. One country is currently occupied and the other one is not. And I'm not saying this to justify, but Ukraine, one, a much younger government, in a much less stable situation to know what's going on, and notoriously corrupt, coming out of communism. And they came out of communism, such as all governments that do that do. And I'm not saying you're wrong. I do have consternation when I hear people say, they haven't done it in a while since this was brought up, but a few years back, someone brought up, well, Israel has universal health care, and it only cost them whatever it was, $50 billion. And that very year, we had given Israel $50 billion.
Nice.
And that was a lot to drink in, And I used to be a stumper. I used to be wholly on board. And then I took a walk down history lane, and now I am very nuanced.
Well, I would also say people would ask, is there corruption in Israel? For sure. I mean, probably any government, there's going to be an element of corruption. And so
our own.
Right. Especially our own. And so, but one of the bullet points that I put on the ads for city council that I'm running is I believe in fiscal responsibility. If I'm going to spend money, I want to know where it's going, And if it's going to corrupt causes, let's stop the money, and just let's take care of our own people first before we take care of another nation where we don't know where the money's going because they can't tell us, or won't tell us. So it's a hard situation when somebody's under attack. Do we support them? Do we not? I believe in life and liberty and the pursuit of happiness and above all freedom. If someone's under attack, your initial human response is, well, we need to help those people. And that was the initial response of most of America when Ukraine was being attacked. But now this has dragged on for so long. Like you said, Holly, people are tired of it. It's like, stop giving them money if, number one, if we don't know where it's going and it's not doing any good, But then you have the other side of that. Well, people are being killed and they need defense. Okay, well, what do you do? What's the human aspect of that versus the political aspect of it? You have to weigh that on both sides, So it's a hard decision.
Israel, with Ukraine, I get that there's probably a lot there was a lot of corruption on our end. It felt like a laundering scheme, just perception, money laundering with that whole thing, especially 350 billion going through with very little to show for it. They've been able to hold out with Russia this whole time, which is probably not what people expected, but they thought Russia would be in and out. But then with Israel, as an ally, we should, I definitely think that as an ally, that's what we're supposed to do is help them. But I don't want to be dragged into a war that isn't ours. And so with that, I don't want my kid going to fight for any other nation. But I think what Trump did with the bombing of their nuclear sites was, a lot of people are happy with that. I'm still learning more. So, I've been out of it for a month, but I know if they had a nuclear warhead, they would use it. Their whole faith says that they need to bring apart the end of the world. That's what they believe in. At least those
in their charter forever.
Right.
So,
and it's just me. I get it. And I don't think we should have them armed. But there's a part of me that also says, again, we're policing the world and telling other people what they can and can't do. And so I too am just been learning so much and also just struggling with where I stand because I care about America. And I think a lot of people do. And if we could rebuild America, like Jordan, one of our viewers mentioned, like if we could rebuild America totally into something greater roads, less taxes, less wars, I think a lot of Americans are there. And right from the very, very most localized government to empower our local governments and make sure that, our taxes just went up again. And our incomes aren't going up. I hate to think the taxes are going across the ocean when so many people are struggling here at home. And even people normally wouldn't struggle are struggling here at home. $100,000 a year is not what it used to be, not even close. And
that's like minimum wage.
It's the old $50,000 a year. It's really hard out there for our youth, especially, and for our elderly, who are just, they're struggling. They're struggling. And
well, the biggest issue I hear when I talk to people about what are their major concerns with the city and what's going on, probably the bulk of those people is taxes. Property taxes and just taxes in general are killing people. If you look at most of us who've had a house for a long time, your taxes have doubled or sometimes tripled over the span of 15, 20 years, whatever it might be. And how are people affording that when your property taxes are going up a minimum of $200 to $300 a year, and our wages aren't going up to match that, how do we keep people in their homes, especially the elderly, who then have to decide, okay, do I pay my property taxes or do I buy the medication that I need to live? That's a hard choice. And that's a big issue for me is we got to help the elderly stay in their homes that they've lived in for 60 years, but at the same time, we need to help everybody with taxes. I don't mind small little incremental tax increases. I get that because of a growing city, you're going to need that. But when Mayor Dunleavy was mayor, taxes stayed the same for 10 years. So people got used to no tax increases. And then all of a sudden you get this huge tax increase and everybody's up in arms. I said, taxes inevitably have to go up for a growing city. There's no way around that because there's more cars on the road. There's more.
Can I ask you why?
What's that?
Can I ask you why taxes have to go up for a growing city? Because you'd think more cars on the road would cause more of the sales tax of fuel and tires and automobile and those things. But why do taxes have to go up on your property for a growing city? Can you explain to me why, if a city starts growing, do the people who've lived there traditionally have to eat a punishment for that?
Well, they shouldn't have to eat a punishment, but it's a double-edged sword because more people in the city brings in more tax revenue for the city. But you've also got that creates more power, more gas, more water usage, more garbage pickup, more police, all the services that people expect. I just heard today that over there where they're building the Smiths, where that new stoplight is on Highway 36, the plan is to build 3,600 homes in that area just west of the highway.
But again, shouldn't that cost be absorbed by the people moving into those homes? Shouldn't it be a dynamic flavor, not you live here, so you've got to eat the bowl of poop so that we can bring more people in? You see what I'm saying? It sounds to me like under that idea, and I'm not trying to bust you here, but it sounds to me like under that idea, I've got to pay for new people to move out here instead of developers paying for it and people moving out here,
Sure.
Because we're getting a Smiths because more people are coming out here, but shouldn't those people coming out here, the developer that's requiring them to put in the new stoplights and update the road, shouldn't the city lean on them and say, hey, because we can't take it every 4 years our taxes goes up 20 to 100%. We can't. We just physically cannot, unless you totally want to turn over the population, because eventually everyone will say, I'm out of here. This is no longer a prosperous place to live.
I just mentioned, though, that 75% of those taxes go to the schools, and they haven't been run magically. So again, we've got.
You mean the Shadow of the Temple is not the most beautiful school ever built in all of high school?
It's the most beautiful school, but do the kids need beautiful schools, or do they need schools that can house them all and teach them life skills and math and science and reading, things that matter? Our schools are blessed, but our cities have to adjust based on that. But I think what you're saying is, shouldn't the new growth cancel out?
Shouldn't it pay for itself?
Adding them on adds more money to the coffers.
It feels like our government has become a tick. It is a parasite. If you look at its definition, it's a parasite. But it's overwhelming the host. We're at a point, we've crossed over the threshold of where totalitarianism lies on taxes. We've crossed that threshold. Absolutely. That threshold sits at 35%. Yeah, there's an actual number that people who study this have written down. 35% is where totalitarianism starts. Mm-hmm. We're so far beyond that.
Oh, yeah. And I think part of that is, if you look back at what the proper role of government should be, the proper role of government, when it was initially written down was to provide for the common defense, okay, military, and to provide infrastructure, roads. Okay, but to your point, how many pots are the government's hands in right now? Everything.
And everything
Schools,
they touch, they turn to crap.
yeah, and they can't ever manage what they have. And so I think what I was saying as far as taxes is, me personally, I'm okay with a tiny tax increase if it's going to benefit the community as a whole. People can swallow, $20, $25 every so often for a tax increase. I'm not talking huge tax increases, but if there's never an increase, people get used to a certain amount.
Well,
And then if that never goes up, then how do we build the city? How do we provide more amenities? How do we?
let me point this out, and I hope there's other political people watching. Wasn't that certain amount a percentage, correct?
Correct.
And it's always stated, well, we didn't raise taxes for so many years. Yeah, it was
like
a percentage.
26 years, I think. We.
But it was hold on.
Tax increase.
It was a percentage. It was a percentage of the value of the home you were in. It should never be raised. Taxes should be a percentage. When they say they're raising taxes, they're not saying, look, we got to get an extra $20 from you. They come after more percentage, which means either A, our government is providing more services and life has gotten better because our government is providing that welfare for us. No. B, our government is less able to manage what it's been doing for the last 20 years with the same thing it's been doing, more likely. Or C, they're messing around with our money and they're screwing it up. They're giving too much leverage to developers. We know the great state of Utah loves its developers. We seem to elect them into every office, right? So where are we getting screwed here? Because right now, and I am a complete capitalist, but man, you guys are making me want to vote for some idiot in New York.
Ew. Hold your tongue, bro.
Because look at the gap that's being built here. We got people who get in good with the government are getting all the benefits of the United States system. Mm-hmm. And if you're just a normal working Joe, you give them for their benefits.
Right.
You get, I'm telling you, it's like a slow motion crash.
Well, I'm totally.
We're in a nightmare situation.
To illegal aliens, I am totally against that. That should never be happening. And I don't want people who are listening to think that I'm for tax increases, because I am not. I don't want to be taxed anymore, just like the next guy. I want to improve our city. I want to make decisions based on what's going to be best for the community as a whole versus a handful of people. Because I'm not about pleasing the handful of people. There's a majority that what's going to be best for the city. And so I'm kind of an outsider coming in, which I think is to my benefit, that I don't work for government. I don't depend on government money. I would like to see the government get smaller instead of get bigger, because like Holly said, anything the government touches goes to crap. And that's absolutely true, because they don't know how to manage it. And so, Trump's a businessman, and, he's shaking things up, and some people love it, some people hate it. But if we never make decisions and make cuts, we're never going to be able to run a budget. So I'm all about efficiency. Is there things we can do better? Is there things we can do with maybe less people? And it's going to be hard. Any of those decisions where you're dealing with people's livelihoods and stuff like that, that's a hard decision,
Well, I would love to add this. You're a business owner, and you've run a successful business in this county for decades, right? Mm-hmm. You're fiscal conservative, because you know what it's like to not sleep at night because you're worrying about a payroll. you're worried about meeting payroll, you're worried about rising costs of product or whatever, and you I know because I've actually had you come out to my house, you're conscious of your customers' needs and you try to work with them and make sure, as a businessman and a business owner and a member of the community and someone who values your reputation and your word, you know, also because of the taxes you pay on your business plus the taxes you pay on your home, you are more common Joe than a politician. Is that fair?
That's very fair. I don't consider myself a politician at all. In fact, for the most part, I hate politics, but when people ask, because running for city council, like I said, was never on my radar. It never even entered my consciousness until people started coming to me and say, I think you should run for city council. And I said, why would you say that? Why would you tell me that?
How dare you?
What did I do to you?
I don't want that. I don't want a target on my back. But they said, just like the very things you talked about, you've run a business, you have to stay in budgets. You have to listen to the customer's needs and be able to solve those needs for a fair price. And, those are the kind of people they said that we need to run the city. Now, I'm not planning on running the city. I do want to ask, if I'm elected, I want to ask all the hard questions to people wanting money. Okay, show me the results of the money you've gotten in the past. What has it benefited this city? Is it worth giving you more money? Like all the rehab centers, the homeless shelters, all those things are constantly wanting more money.
Right.
And that money, it's either coming from the government or us or both, because it's our tax money that's funding all that. So is there a way we can do it more efficiently with less people and get a better result than what we're doing now? That's what I want to explore.
I've got an idea. This is a crazy notion coming from the non-religious guy. There's a very wealthy church down every street. Churches used to handle that kind of thing. They were always really good at it.
Sure.
Now I get that FDR pooed in the punch bowl, but can we claw some of that back?
Mm-hmm.
I don't know.
I think building a homeless shelter and the taxpayers of your city taking on that responsibility is a very scary line to walk. I mean, I have all the sympathy in the world for homeless people and the struggles they have. But the ideas that a lot of them are so independent, some are addicts, some are mentally ill, some are struggling families who, surprise, can't afford to live in their house because of getting laid off of work or
Some are all three of those.
Or all three. And if you build it here, more will come. Because other cities who are trying to fix their homeless problem will see, oh, I can just bust them out there.
Well, what do we have?
That's
what do we have coming up in a few years?
Olympics.
And what happened last time we had the Olympics?
Busloads of people were shipped out here.
They brought the homeless out and dropped them off in Middle Canyon. That's a lot to drink in.
With nowhere to go.
And it was the Winter Olympics. Let's everyone drink it in. That Salt Lake City loaded its homeless on buses, drove them around here, drove them up the canyon so we wouldn't watch them. We couldn't see them dropping people off, and dropped them off up the canyon in the winter. That's unconscionable in every direction. Sure. It's unconscionable to do to them. It's unconscionable to do to us. But here we are.
Should have taken them to Las Vegas or somewhere warm where they're not worried about just freezing.
I heard LA wants them.
Well, that's it. If a place has it,
Portland, Seattle.
Well, you guys understand, LA has the Olympics also coming up, and it's the Summer Olympics, and they're doing the same thing. They're looking for places to move the homeless. I mean,
Vegas is going to be swollen.
Seriously, but that's it. When you build it, you become a flagship for it, and they will send them here. So
and nobody wants Tooele to be known as the homeless dumping ground of Utah.
Right.
Nobody wants it.
We've had the
But-
same conversation at the county level, and I've had this same argument since it first came up. And not as a GOP person, but as a citizen, I was so worried the county was going to take something on like this, because not only does it require, housing, and you need cameras, you need security. You need to have a tight security system that's protecting the women and children that may be homeless versus the men, because we're talking mental illness, and we're talking maybe criminals, and we're talking regular families who are just having a tough go. And, the need is there. We need some way to help them, but there's got to be some smart way that we can stay. And like Jared said, where there's fundraising done by the people who really want to help, they get a tax, they don't pay taxes. So, and they bring in, money, and this is all churches, but
Yeah. What if we got
back
churches?
to the churches and say, hey, look, we need this here in the county. Is there something you can do? Because this is how much it's going to cost. You guys should handle it. And then it's not, hey, we're getting, our city is paying for this. Salt Lake City wants to make a deal, or they're just going to bring them out and not make any deals. And Tooele County citizen can just eat it.
If the Mormon Church wants to justify staying tax exempt, which I am not one of them, but there are a lot of calls to tax churches. I'm telling you right now, this new generation coming up wants to tax churches.
Mm-hmm.
And if churches want to stay tax exempt, they need to step up. I would like to see us get the Baptists and the Catholics and the Mormons all competing with each other to see who does the best job for their communities, keeping them good, wholesome communities again. Let them compete. Let them say, well, we do the best job. We do the best job. Let them, like they used to. Let's get that going again. Another thing, we need to start institutionalizing people that have psychosis from drugs and all that stuff. They need to no longer be on the streets.
Right. To protect the common good, to protect the regular people.
Well, and to protect them.
To protect them. Absolutely.
Yeah. And so there's a lot of things. I mean, we are at a point right now where the government no longer provides a livable good. And they go any further and it will be an unlivable good that they provide.
Mm-hmm.
And that's when it gets ugly. And that's when you start getting socialists elected. There's a reason the Bolsheviks got a foothold in Russia. It's not because the Tsar had a thriving economy. We need a good economy. That knocks out 30% of the homeless. You have a good economy, a thing that people can have pride in. They get a good job that can pay for a good life. You need to have, that's probably the most important. The drug problem, I don't know. A
good economy has proven that less people are on drugs when they're able to make money and have a life. And you don't even have to mention Russia. Just look at New York City right now.
Look at New York City.
From there is a socialist who believes in a livable wage and people shouldn't work too much and everything should be free. Your bus travel, your subway.
Well, look what LA just did.
A lot of money.
LA voted that $30 is now their minimum wage.
How do businesses
Drink that in.
survive?
How's a business supposed to start?
Absolutely.
Drink that in.
I think the bottom line here, though, is that we aren't LA, we aren't New York, we are a small community, and this is happening all across the nation in small communities like ours, where we have this battle of we're growing so quickly, we need to catch up, and we don't want to grow too much, we want to stay small.
I'm fine with growth.
Wrestle.
I'm great with growth.
Yeah.
I'm just not okay with I have to bear the burden so we can grow. I don't want to end up being homeless so that
Right.
we can get Costco. Because I
Totally
won't be
agree.
able to use Costco if I'm homeless,
Right.
you know? And that's where we're headed. It seems like that's where we're headed. We're headed, and do they just not lay enough stipulations on the developers? You know, the developers need to build and have set up so a park is managed. Or does the city have to take that over?
Infrastructure. Every infrastructure development for these large communities should be on the developer, in my opinion, to provide the
100%.
roads, the sidewalks, the water hookup, because they're the ones who are profiting off of each home. They're writing the the CNRs, or what are they called?
ECNRs.
Yeah, and the developer is able to sell them for whatever they want. And at the end of the day, if there's a market for it, especially housing, it's flying off. They're getting sold before they can even build.
Sure.
But they're not being sold to anybody who should be able to buy a new house. You know, there's
Well, they're
not
not being sold.
a
Remember what we
20-year-old
found
isn't
out?
buying a house.
Do you remember
a
what
young
we found out, Jared, in
They
the
can't
Park
afford it.
City, when we were talking to the Park City about their development, and how the government said you need low income housing out there. And we said, well, wow, what does low income housing look like in Park City? And he said, well, low income in Park City is under 300,000
for an apartment.
Or a small townhome, and they were like under 500,000 for a home. And we're just like, what?
But that's where
how they
we're
get
at.
around it. That's how they say low income housing, and they take the median of what people make, and not just make, but what people are willing to spend, and they'll sell it out in no time.
Sure.
But it can't be people that are just coming up, young teenagers, or young adults, or elderly folks who are looking to downsize and get something smaller. It's near impossible.
Even these townhomes in these smart city areas that the cities are building, to me, that's not affordable either, because those are $400,000 to $450,000 for a little townhome, a 3-bedroom, type thing with an unfinished basement,
and a neighbor 5 feet away.
Yeah, you got a common wall between you and your neighbor. What's affordable? Well, to me, what's affordable is back in the 90s, but we're never going to get to that point again, I don't think. So that's a hard, what's the cap at affordable? My son, can they afford a house? Well, they bought a condo, 3-bedroom, 2-bath, and it was about $400,000, and it was used, and that was right at the top of their budget that they could afford. And so, yeah, it's because I asked the board of realtors too. I said, how $450,000 is not affordable for a first-time home buyer, but that's what the median, even starter homes, that's what they cost right now.
Well, and you add the fact that these young people, that's the top of their budget, and then they can't adjust for rising taxes.
Right. They have no wiggle room in the budget for anything else. What if the car breaks down? What if you have a medical expense? Whatever it might be, there's no wiggle room, and it's hard,
What I'm picturing right now is there's a reason we're not having kids. We're not replacing ourselves. That's because they cannot afford to have kids and live, or they perceive they cannot, which has the exact same effect. Sure. So if we don't have kids, everyone, here's things you can see go away. Social Security, done. Social Security requires the next generation to pay for your retirement. It's gone. So if you have plans on that, homes, trust me here, 20, 25 years, when this population collapse catches up with us, homes will be real cheap. They'll be real cheap, and no one will care.
Yep.
Because they won't want them.
Yeah, there'll be too many.
And then the homeless will then have homes. Every one of them will have like 2 homes. That's a homeless. They'll get like 2. Be a lottery. They'll force homeless to at least have a home. They don't have
Or
to
they'll
live in
just
it.
squat in it because it'll be empty. Like
No. The government will make them. They'll just give them a piece of paper they can
They'll give it
wipe
to
with later because
Wow.
there'll be so many empty homes. It'll just be empty. There'll be whole swaths of cities. Like if Tooele doesn't figure it out, Tooele will be a ghost town because there'll be nothing out here.
Experience that problem in not too many years here because they're not having kids.
Japan's already gone into zombie economy.
Yeah.
They're zombie right now. They're
Well,
just
and
printing
then-
money.
you add to it that you'll be 25 years older and there'll be no one to care for our elderly.
Oh,
Wow.
yeah.
So many elderly that euthanasia will be an option like Canada because
An
they don't
option?
wanna be a burden.
What do you mean an option?
Well, I'm saying an option because I'm
It'll
still
be something
happy
that
the United States give us a choice, but
that your grandkids will be signing you up for just so that you're off their docket. Seriously, Social Security is going to go away, and it's going to be the Gen Alpha or whatever that votes to make it go away. And it's going to happen when us Gen Xers are on it. Just what's going to happen. They're going to write the laws to strip us naked.
Yeah.
well, yeah, because they
Just
feel
like the boomers
stripped
did to
their
us.
future away from them. That's Gen Z right now. How dare you guys make these bad decisions that we have to be punished by? And Gen Z's come out with that. We don't get to have the American dream. We can't even dream the American dream
Mm-hmm.
because you guys have spent it all. I mean, we've
Mhm.
got debt on our heads for generations to come, but the spending has been going on even before we were born. I mean, it's been government spending down to the local governments where there's the most, in my opinion, they're the most accountable. And you can't get away from it because taxes are a necessary evil. But what we do need is for people to be in local government that understand how budgets work, that understand the needs of the people and the not so big a needs of the people, and who focus on business before growth. You bring the businesses out because they're the number one tax revenue, and then you bring growth around them. You can't just
And make sure that the businesses pay their own property taxes.
right.
That we're not stuck with that. So
In this new development, are any of these new companies getting a tax break because they came out?
yes, I talked to Melody Goches, who's on city council right now, and asked her that very question. I said, what incentives is the city giving these businesses to come out here? And I said, are they going to pay their own property taxes versus the people of the community? And she said, usually what Tooele City will offer is a tax incentive for the business to come out. And that's usually 3 to 5 years where they pay a discounted portion of their property taxes. Then after the 3 to 5 years, they pay regular.
No, they close shop and leave. Look at Purple.
Well, yeah, and sometimes that happens, but Walmart does that, and Walmart doesn't even own their buildings. They lease their buildings. So if they ever have to up and leave, the community gets stuck with this big building. And what do we do with that?
Imagine how many Spirit Halloweens we could fit in that ball.
Absolutely. And pickleball courts. Yeah.
Right.
Oh.
But there, and so there's a lot of issues that have to be dealt with, and I am certainly not going to say I know the answer to all of them because I don't. But my whole goal is let's get the experts in whatever field that we're talking about together, educate me on the issues so I can make an informed decision. Because in essence, I'm voting to spend your money, and it's my money too, and I want to be smart about it, because it doesn't matter what decision is made, half the people are going to hate me, half are not. And so, which is fine. I don't have any friends anyway.
The honest thing is 10% of people will hate you, 10% will not, 80 won't know what happened.
Right. And
Unfortunately,
so,
that's where we're at.
Ignorance is bliss, though. I mean, that tax hike last year, it hit a couple buddies of mine super hard. One of them, I told him you need to go talk to the assessor. He never did. But his house payment went up an extra, I think like 35%.
Mine went up in triple digits, and it keeps going up.
And I'm like, oh, really? This is we've gotten to that point where we've got too much government now.
right.
We need to figure it out.
People need to know that you can contest your property taxes.
I told him he needs to.
And, it's up to them whether they decrease it or not. But I would say probably 8 times out of 10, if you go in and you take the energy to go contest your taxes, usually the city will respect that. They'll say, listen, I'm on a fixed budget. You guys keep raising these taxes. I can't do it, and so you're forcing me out of my home, and usually they will help you. Now, I don't know how much they'll drop it, but something is better than nothing, in a decrease. And so people need to know that you can go to, I think it's the assessor.
Yeah, it's at the county.
To protest your property taxes, because.
And in Tooele City, I know that's where my mom and dad live, and they do give veterans, I think retired veterans, and senior citizens discounts on their property tax,
Sure.
which has made, I mean, my mom is so happy that that's even a thing, because again, it's medicine, it's groceries, or it's taxes.
Right.
These people are choosing what to buy, and a lot of them are going hungry. A lot are going without the medicine they need for survival. Mm-hmm. And their only thing they have of value, their home, is something they have to keep, because there's no other places. I mean, right. Yes, you can downsize and you can sell your house for gobs of money right now, but you can't move into a new house without spending even more money. And it's
not going to make any money on it.
And it's not like there's affordable apartments either.
You're right.
Yeah. Even apartments are $1,500 a month for a 2-bedroom.
Utah's housing situation is mostly, from my understanding, caused by our water situation. So Utah,
from the Californians moving in with all their cash from their house selling. There's quite a bit of that, but I mean, look at the Bear River project. There's a reason our salt plants are drying up too. Like, what's that?
We're just not getting enough water. How's the Great Salt Lake? You can walk across it right now.
There's a lot of talk
to
in
drink
the legislature about the Great Salt Lake and pumping water into it and this and that. I don't know what the solution is there, but we all remember, you guys are of the age, when you were young, you go to the Great Salt Lake, it was full. It
flooded when we were little.
Yeah. And now, however many years later, it's decreasing, because you've got at the west end of the Great Salt Lake, you have Chinese-owned companies that are mining for lithium out of the Great Salt Lake. It's like, why are we letting the Chinese build lithium batteries that then we have to buy, and they're mining it from our own land? That doesn't make sense to me. But I don't know. There's a lot of mountains to climb, and you just have to pick your battles that you feel like you can have an impact on.
You want me to tell you why?
Tell me why.
Because our government, national government, has regulated the processing of lithium out of the United States. You cannot process lithium in the United States.
Why?
Because it's environmentally whatever. Every bit of precious metal that's pulled out of the U.S. now, not precious metal, I think I should say the metal for, lithium and cobalt and that, it's all pulled out. We pull it out here and we ship it all to China. Right. Because in the watermelon's infinite wisdom, it's not pollution if it happens in China, I guess. I don't know why.
Can I say this with Magcor, for example?
Magcor's
Their
gone.
byproduct of Magcor was titanium. It was a byproduct that was coming out when they were doing the magnesium. And they were one of 5 suppliers of titanium in the world. And then the government realized China is selling it for less. So we're going to send all the titanium to China and let them sell it because we're getting it for 1/5 of the cost or something. And magnesium or Magcor wasn't allowed to sell titanium anymore in the world. Well, what happened after China got a monopoly on the magnesium or the titanium, then they jacked up their prices. And then it all became more expensive. Why on earth would we stop our own country's business and destroy it and not use it and keep it as one of the 5 top sellers of titanium? If it's definitely a need in this country and every other country. But that's what happens when governments get involved in this type of crap. It just turns to crap.
Oh.
They're trying to shut down all the coal mines that produce our power. It's like
when the U.S. falls, it will not be because of Iran or Israel or even China. It will be because of bureaucrats and politicians.
for sure. I agree with that.
Oh, and you are going to be one, Spencer.
Well, in my defense, I will never consider myself a politician because I hate that term. It's got this negative aura around it, and
Well-deserved aura.
right. I'm a man. I think of the people because I deal with the people every day, and so because I am one of them, and so if I'm elected to be the voice of the common person in Tooele, I will love and cherish that title because I want common sense. I want be smart with our money, be smart with our growth, all the things that we're going to go through, and just rein it in, stop wasting our money. And so I've been to many city council meetings over the years that they'll spend $500,000 or more in an hour. And it's like, did anyone ask any questions of why we're voting for this? And I know there's meetings before the meetings and all that. But it's like, it's almost like, why are you afraid to ask the question? It's a simple question. If your son or daughter came to you and said, Dad, I need $1,000, you don't just give them $1,000. You say, why do you need $1,000? What is this going for? Because I have to earn that money to give to you. Right. So I want to make sure that it's going somewhere that's necessary, right?
Mm-hmm.
Well, Spencer, one thing that you mentioned about watching these meetings and having these questions in your mind as they're making these decisions is I would love for a councilman or, a mayor or county councilman, I would love them to ask those questions publicly because that is what's happening in regular citizens' heads.
Right.
And as my representative, I want those questions asked in front of me. Since I can't ask them in a public meeting, I can only make a comment. I want them asking each other,
Sure.
Just like you said. And that's something I know you will do.
Well, like Jared said, most of the population will never go to a city council meeting. They just don't care.
They don't care, or it's not even. Let me ask you this. When you were 25, were you even aware that they had those things?
No.
When did you become aware? What age would you say?
Well, I'd say probably my 30s when I started to become a little more active politically. I knew that there were city councils and there were city council meetings, but I had no desire to go to them, just like most people. I don't want to waste my time where I could be doing something I want to do and go sit and listen to a bunch of politicians. I just never.
Or you're a plumber. You're making money. It's a Tuesday night. You can finish up the job and get paid that night, or you got to go back tomorrow, reset, you know, and half the time, let's talk about this new fun time economy we got now. I mean, how many people work 9 to 5s anymore?
Not many.
Yeah. How many people work odd and weird schedules now? Everybody. I mean, so yes, that's how it is. But I don't know. And I think Tooele City should, you know, not only broadcast what they do, but they should start a page that, one, make it entertaining, and two, put out there what's going to be on Tuesday's docket.
They do that. Well,
That's already available.
Okay, see,
and the meeting.
then let me revert back to the make it entertaining, so someone might want to go look at it once in a while.
Well, what I would like to do now, you both have to know, and Holly probably already knows this, that I'm not very tech savvy, but that's not what I do. That's not where I make my money. So I pay people to be tech savvy for me, but I would like to, either whether on my own Facebook page or the Tooele County Republican page, list the things. Because I know people look at that page, say, this is what we're voting on. What do you, people of the community, what would you prefer to see done? Get them active. Get them, they don't have to go to the meeting. Tell me how you want me to vote on this.
Yeah, do some polls. They've got Facebook polls, Twitter poll, or X polls, I guess you call it now.
Because if I'm representing you, then I need to know what you think. You don't have to go to the meeting, but let me know so I can represent you in the council. You know,
Well,
because I look at that. That's my job. You know,
anything you send me regarding stuff like that, I'm happy to share on the party page. And here's the thing, like what I learned with Nicolene, for example, your wife, she's just like that. She posts questions to the public. What makes me so angry is how little response she gets back. People can't be bothered with the politics of legislature.
but they can be bothered telling everyone else where they went to dinner.
Right.
We don't care.
Yes.
Well,
We're
okay.
a totally different community and culture than we used to be. Everyone is so self-absorbed, and they're not looking at the picture. Many of them don't even understand the levels of government locally.
Let me make a quick call out though, because the great Thomas Sowell says there are no solutions, there's only trade-offs. And nobody ever puts a picture of the Taco Bell they're putting up on the Instagrams.
Well,
Right? They only put good dinners up there, not the things that make them later on destroy a roll of toilet paper.
Fabrication. Everything.
But what I'm saying is
fabrication.
Here's the thing with the legislature, there's no pretty end to that. There might be a not as ugly end, but there's no pretty end to government law.
Yeah. Because you can ask 10 people the same question. You're going to get 10 different answers. You know, what would you like to see done? Well, you're going to get 10 different responses.
And at the end of the day, we're still losing freedom somewhere.
Right.
Regardless of what the law or bill is, we are citizens losing freedom somewhere because the government decided to step in, make this bill, and someone is losing their freedoms. Because legislature and government, that's just how government is. They write a law, somebody loses something.
Like my ideal, the city government shouldn't have to meet but more than once a month. And that's just to go over the monthly bill.
Mm-hmm. They meet every Wednesday.
Huh? They meet every Wednesday, which means
every other Wednesday.
Which means they're chewing up a little too much of my money. County probably sits on the same because we got incorporated living out here. But other places, the county shouldn't have to meet that often. And the state, I mean, they're meeting once a year. They've kind of got that down, but they shouldn't have to do it for more than why are they involved in everything they're involved in?
Well, I don't want to get excited, but I just saw an executive order put out by our governor where he wants to create a board that handles the an executive order that handles growth and development in this state.
Good.
I'm still reading up on it.
Okay,
but
hold on.
like overreach
So
times 10.
more people with cushy government jobs to get to tell us how we get to grow, but they're going to have to tax us more to pay for them. Thank you, Governor. You're doing a great job. Oh, good on you.
What I don't understand is
I don't know why.
Legislature, whose job it is to represent me and argue it, unless he knew our legislature didn't want it. Maybe they said, no, we're not going to vote for this. So we decided to go the EO route.
Yeah.
You know, I wonder if Fazio would give me like a ton bag full of feathers. How big do you think a ton bag of feathers is?
Who's
the
Fazio?
tar that's going to cost.
Fazio egg down there in Erda. How big is it? I mean, it'd be a ton. I know how much I got to carry, but I need to know volume.
A ton of feathers?
A ton of feathers.
That's a ton of feathers.
2,000. But
That's a
how
lot.
big is it? How big? Like, is it 20 feet by 10 feet by 10 feet?
Sweetheart, you're on the wrong thought. Think what the tar would cost you.
No. I know where to get the tar. It's the feathers. That's the heart. That's the source. Tar's easy. It's at Home Depot. They all know me by name. The feathers is hard.
Okay.
Will Fazio give me feathers?
Well, you probably have to go gather them up yourself.
The worst they can do is say no.
I'll have to go in there, pluck. I get one from each bird. You know, they have like 1 million birds down there.
Yeah.
So if I get one from each bird.
We're coming up on Spencer's time. So I would love to get you the floor, Spencer.
Yeah, Spencer.
And I wish I could vote for you. Being a member of Stansbury, I don't get that option, but I'm very interested in Tooele politics. Like I said, my parents are there, and my mom tries to stay involved, but I try to stay involved too, just so I can let her know what's going on. But when you said you were running, I was so happy for the citizens of Tooele.
Well, and we both were. I know I came at you.
You know, I still got to be elected, but we'll see what happens.
I know it seems like I came at you kind of hard in the beginning. Don't worry. Everyone gets the same come at him.
Fine.
But that's just how I feel. I feel like the government's leaving us no solution, but I was very happy when I heard you were running as well.
Well, and you understand
you and
that
I have met a couple of times, and it's nice to see a stand-up guy, a plumber get in there. That means he's not someone walking in with some, empty-headed degree who thinks they know everything. You're an actual, someone who actually does stuff.
Truth be told, I don't have a degree.
I like it. You just keep whispering them sweet nothings in my ear, because
my degree, I guess, is in life experience. And so as far as a plug, I would just tell people that are listening and who you guys deal with that I'm a normal guy. I'm a regular citizen. I would like to go and leave some kind of impact for good, common sense, listening to people, because I'm one of you. I am not a politician. Never wanted to be a politician, and still don't want to be a politician because I hate politics. But if I can, make some kind of positive change in the city, then that will be the most rewarding thing for me. Now, I know that it's not going to please everyone, but I've met a lot of people. I know a lot of people in the community. I've been in this community for 28 years, and I would say most people probably like me. I'm a pretty easygoing guy, but decisions that have to be made that affect a lot of people are very hard, because you have to weigh both sides, and somebody's inevitably going to get hurt. Like you said, there's no magic pill that's going to please everybody. I know that. I get that. I hear the hate that my wife gets. And she actually told me that she thought I was crazy for wanting to go into public service. I said, I've been in public service for a lot of years, not as a politician per se, but as a resident that helps people fix their issues, And it's just, I want to see the city run like a business. I want balanced budgets. I want efficiency. I want, when there's a problem, let's address it. Let's not take 10 years to address it. Let's address it now, because these are what the people would want. You know, they don't want to wait 20 years to have their road or their potholes fixed. They want to fix now, you know.
Well, then you're going to be introduced to the world of bureaucracy that is like a
I know.
slow drip. And unfortunately, great people run for office. They get in there and they're like, why is this a thing? Why can't we just fix it right away? And that's why your logic and common sense is refreshing. And it could hopefully make some of that slow motion bureaucracy that we see in government, maybe kick it in the butt a little bit.
Well, you know, I know the wheels of politics are like the wheels of justice. They turn very slowly. But as a business owner, I have to make decisions quickly and that I feel is in the best interest of all parties involved. And some may like it, some may not. And I'm not afraid to ask the questions. I'm not afraid to say, why are we doing this way? Have you ever thought about doing this another way that's a little more efficient? You know, and, you know, like I said, I'm not going to be able to fix everything, but if I can fix something, then I will feel like it was a success, you know.
If you just stop it from going off the rails, it'll be a success.
Well, and I'd like to know, how do you want people to reach out to you? If they
Yeah.
want
Yeah.
to talk to
Now,
you.
I did a search. You don't have a website because you said you're not a technical guy, but you do have a Facebook. Do you want people
Well,
to?
I do have a website, but it's my business website.
Yes,
I
yes.
don't have a political website because I don't have a ton of money to spend on this campaign,
Right.
right? I don't have donors. I'm funding it myself. And I told my wife, listen, if this has got to be $1,000 or less for this whole campaign, because that's all I want to spend on this. So people can reach me just at my regular cell phone number, which is 801-554-3095. And they can certainly email me on my, just at perfectplumber@yahoo. And because I look at those daily and ask questions, I'm happy to respond to that. I know there's going to be a lot of questions. I'll answer them as honestly and transparently as I can. And if I don't know the answer, I will simply tell you I don't know. You know, and because I'm not going to make up some answer that has no validity or no research behind it. That wouldn't, I mean, that's just not the way I am. So, but those are probably the best ways to contact me. I'm always available. Well, typically always, to talk to people, answer questions, and just find out really what are your concerns with the city? What would you like to see done? And again, everyone's going to have a different response. Obviously, there's some things that will be out of my control, but if I can help the city as a whole with balancing budgets and just being fiscally responsible, then I'll feel like that it's been worth it. So
Perfect. All right, everyone. That's Spencer Peck. Repeat that number one more time.
phone number is 801-554-3095, or you can email me at perfectplumber@yahoo.com.
All right, perfect. All right.
I'm going to
Spencer
put it
Peck.
in the show notes, or in
Perfect.
the comments.
Well, thank you guys for having me on.
right.
I've actually never been on a podcast, so that was kind of fun.
Well, you'll probably end up on it a few more times, and then if you win, try to bring you on more also.
I'm happy to. I
Just
don't know
to-
how many people listen to or watch it. I know Jordan's looks like the only one that's commented.
He's on the YouTube side, and then we've got the Facebook side also.
Right.
Well, and let me just say, Spencer, I hope you enjoyed it. But I also, what Jared and I want to do when we invite you on, the topics that are affecting the city are affecting cities all over the country. They apply all over the country, and we need good people to stand up and run for these offices if we want to see change and get things better. It's good people that don't run that put us in jeopardy.
Right.
And I I know you. I know how you think, and I mean how we talked about a lot of issues. I know that you are super smart and you have life experience of what it takes to build something you can be proud of, and that people around town trust you because you're a man of your word and you definitely work with the customer at any stage, and you also have built this reputation that you value, and that your wife this is the same. You guys are just, you've raised kids in this community, you've got grandkids, you've got skin in the game.
Right.
And I think that's so important, and I hope that talking with us about issues and nationally or locally, that people will get to see the person that I know, and get to understand how much you care about these
Well,
issues.
And the other thing that I didn't mention, I don't think, was that I know there's this rivalry between Grantsville and Tooele, and it seems like a lot of times we're competing against each other. And I would like to bring everybody together. Listen, guys, we all live in the same county. We're all in this together. We should not be fighting each other. Let's work together to make the whole county a place where people want to live, and that they can enjoy their life and thrive. Forget this rivalry high school thing that well, Grantsville's better than Tooele, Tooele's better than Grantsville. Nobody cares. We all live out here for a specific reason, and let's make the whole county better instead of just one area.
Right. And let's think like a united front in the county instead of separate cities, because we all
I know
affect each other.
that's a tough lift. I get that.
Yeah.
But,
it really is. It really
the whole
is.
rivalry thing. I mean, I get the high school rivalry. Okay, that's great. But when we become adults, we live in these communities, and we want our communities to be safe and nice, and where people actually talk to each other and care about their neighbors. And that's what I'm hoping that we can all do as people from Grantsville, people from Tooele. We all live out here. There shouldn't be any animosity between cities. Let's make it work for everybody.
I think we can all get behind Grantsville and Tooele getting together and ganging up on Stansbury. I'm down.
How
Well,
dare
they
you?
have-
From Stansbury, so you got to go after the county that
Oh
way.
my gosh. Sip your tea.
The hammer has been dropped, Holly. There you go.
Yeah. Well, we need the county and the cities unified, because every city has its own issues. Every city has water issues and housing issues. So if there's a way to combat that as a whole, rather than Grantsville's doing this by themselves, or Tooele's doing this by themselves, and they are not sharing or working
Right.
on help. I mean,
why can't Tooele and Grantsville, as far as water, why don't we combine resources? That's a
because
hard
one
lift,
city has the water and the other city needs the water.
Right. So
you're right, though. If they could get together, maybe one city has.
That's gone back and forth on everything. What about when they started up these plans of building a county or a valley-wide municipal sewage project, and then one city said, "Nope, we're going to do it ourselves." Both cities are. They all do that.
there shouldn't be this competition, and it's combined resources, and so this is something the realtors asked me today, and you guys may have more information about this and what it's all about, but they asked me if I would support a water conservancy district in Tooele. I said, I don't even know what that is. I love water because I'm a plumber, but I can't give you an answer unless I have more information.
That's what you said. They're trying to tie all the water together through the whole valley.
Countywide.
And that's a push from the county. Mayor Critchlow's on board. I think Mayor Wynn's on board. I'm not sure. But it's also, they've got to get a huge grant, because to do that, they've got to build the plumbing to combine them.
Yes,
and
someone's got to pay for it. And
that's a big deal. And that they've got to get a grant. They've got to get ahead of it. Mostly, I think it'd be a project that would fall under the county. And I mean, how would you feel to live out in Wendover and they say, well, your county taxes have to go up? Well, why? Oh, because Tooele and Grantsville is going to have pipes going between them. Drink that in for a minute, right? So
I'm
how do
sure
they
there's
manage that?
underlying issues and all that, would people vote for that? Would it be a ballot initiative item? I don't know.
I'll tell you, Grantsville would probably vote no as it stands.
Right.
Grantsville's protective of its water with cause. Just like Stansbury would vote no on letting anybody outside of Stansbury fish on that pond with all them grungy carp in it.
Okay, for Rude, it's actually a public pond, and we don't have
Yeah,
a
but if
choice.
you guys had the vote,
If we
it's
voted,
a public pond.
We would vote no private. We
It's
don't
a
want people
public.
fishing that don't live
I
here.
know. Because everybody protects what they have.
Sure.
Yes.
And I get that. I understand that, but it's just like if there's something that the communities can do together to build each other, why would we
Right.
not do that? Yeah, it's going to
Right.
come down to money and, the whole community pride thing, Grantsville versus Tooele. Okay, but if who has more water? Is it Tooele or Grantsville?
Grantsville has a lot more water.
Okay.
Because
But like I said, though, Spencer,
because
you could
Grantsville
get
also
behind
combined.
a water preserve district. Like you could vote for that because it does benefit the county as a whole. It would be expensive, but all the cities would share the expense instead of just one trying to
Grantsville,
pipe it and get it around.
the Grantsville would vote no, obviously, because they're going to protect what they have. Grantsville was a little bit smarter when they built their water collection system.
Where does their water come from?
It comes from South Willow, North Willow, Davenport, and all the little feeders there. And so they got a bigger collection system, and they also have less populace that pulls it.
Right.
But technically, no culinary comes from the reservoir, though.
Mm-hmm.
But, and Tooele's
The
was not.
aquifers, Jer, don't they have aquifers as well?
They do have aquifers.
And
But
that's what Stansbury has as well. And we have our own water district in Stansbury, but they want to
so
link everyone together, which is
they want to
smart.
tie us all together. And don't worry. I mean, vote no on it. It's going to happen one day. As that 10 miles gets skinnier, it's going to happen.
Grantsville's growing. They're growing
So is Tooele.
constantly.
Tooele
yeah,
and Grantsville
Tooele-
are both growing.
They already want it, but see, Grantsville, they would vote against it, even though they're going to come to find out, as big as they are, having annexed where the racetrack is and all that area, and if they put more businesses in there and do all of that, they are going to need those pipes built.
We're lucky Mayor Critchlow is not watching right now. He'd be screaming
probably
about all the smut you're talking.
I love
He'd be
their-
like, you know what Tooele did? Let me tell you what Tooele did.
Yeah, but
And I
these are things that I want to know about. I want to be involved in that conversation. I want to be educated. What are the pros? What are the cons? Can't we all just get along? And then make a decision based on what I feel would be the best for everybody. Let's help each other instead of having these little turf wars that don't do anybody any good. And so I don't know. That's just the way my brain is wired.
Spencer, if you could get a meeting with her, Debbie Wynn is a wealth of knowledge, as is Mayor Critchlow, and they are legit people who love their county or their cities. I mean, no question about it. And I think that with you seeking knowledge, I would go to the source and talk to them, because we don't know the inside baseball as much as, the source would tell you what the issue is, the pros and cons. But like Jared said, at the end of the day, connecting all of us countywide with water would be hugely beneficial to every person living here.
Mm-hmm.
But for county or cities that don't want to give up their water,
which is every city.
Yeah.
So,
But, some cities are going to house all the businesses like Tooele. Other cities are going to have a lot of the houses, like Stanford, like Grantsville. And Grantsville wants to be a small town, but they want to have a lot of businesses, but not to the extent Tooele is putting in.
Right.
So, and it's close
I
enough
think-
for people to drive. So there's
Maintaining a small town, we're past that. We're not a small town. Neither is Grantsville anymore. And it's, I don't know. Now,
I think it's
will it ever
the-
happen? I don't know, but
People
is
are
it worth talking about? I would think so. Who is it going to benefit? Like you said, I think that would benefit everybody. And so why wouldn't we do it other than people's egos?
It's not ego, it's fear.
Yeah, and
It
associated
has
real
nothing to do with ego. Grantsville's not saying we want to keep our water so we can say we have more water. It's because Grantsville's like, what happens when I need water and I can't get it because Tooele took it?
Yeah.
You know,
And for the
Just like
Association
Tooele-
Realtor to ask this question of you, it's a very important question because the county's highly involved in this. They went to set everything up, and at last minute it changed. And I think the realtors in this county understand the development that's coming, and they too believe in smart development, not just, hey, boom, put all these developments up and then we always have water issues.
Right.
They want to get that infrastructure in place. I think that's why they're wondering if you would vote for it. And I think anyone should vote for infrastructure. It's still, again, I think we could put it out into developers and include it in their plans. And they put the piping in under their own development that attaches to the piping in unincorporated that county put in, and then attaches to Tooele City where they've put.
Let me ask you this. If they put it on the next ballot and they said, would you want to make an incorporated district, district water, and it cost you an extra 15% on your taxes, would you say yes?
I would.
Would I say yes personally?
Just
Yeah,
say no,
personally.
I couldn't afford it.
That's what we're looking at.
Right. I would have to say it's one of those questions.
No.
I need more information.
Every developer, they would be like, heck yeah, right? That's
They're
money for
making a lot
them.
of-
And they don't live here anyway.
Right.
Yeah,
Right?
but
Now, what if they put
the
it on-
proposal was developers have to pay for this infrastructure? Then would
Yeah,
developers?
I love it. Good luck,
do it.
but I love it.
Of course, you can't afford the house they just built because they're going to include all that in that house.
Well, no, the developers just won't build a house.
Yeah, that's true.
They will
And then we're back
build
to having
elsewhere.
a housing problem.
You know how many times developments have started and then shut off for 10 years because it wasn't a profitable time for them, and then started right back up after that 10 years? They came into the city with these promises. The city never held them accountable. But what happens when a city breaks a promise to a developer? The city has to give them, half of their water shares. Drink all that in. Where's our water at? Right there.
Yeah. Well, and that was Stansbury Park. Initially was a development that they ended up putting on hold, and then all of a sudden we're one of the biggest bedroom communities anywhere.
Well, didn't all the lakes in Stansbury, wasn't that with their own water? Didn't they fill those lakes with?
There's a warm spring that feeds this lake,
Okay.
and
Yeah,
actually,
the old mill ponds.
yeah, and they filled the lake. But we bought our house 20 plus years ago, and we're told it's a private lake, and all of that. And then 12, 15 years in, we're told, no, it's a public lake. And I'm like, if it's a public lake, why don't we see, Utah, rangers and stuff out here patrolling, or I don't know, dredging it so it's not so shallow and we don't get fish dying, and making sure people have licenses, because totally, and maintaining the lake. And
Mhm.
it's just a very weird place for a community to be.
I haven't had a license check in
A fishing license?
fishing, hunting, 20 plus years now.
17 years old is how old I was the last time someone asked for my license.
That
I
was only a few years ago.
I don't think
No.
our fishing. I don't know if our fishing game out this way. Well, maybe they recognize there ain't no deer on this mountain, so they don't need to worry about it anymore.
Yeah.
Yeah, but there's
I heard they're going to start giving out unicorn licenses out here.
Out on
Yeah.
Antelope Island. Yeah, that'd be.
No, they're going to give unicorn for the Stansberries and the Okers. Going to give out unicorn licenses.
I'd like to see pictures of that. But
Well,
Yeah.
that's when you say there ain't no unicorn on that mountain, and I say there ain't no deer either.
Oh, so we didn't fall for his joke.
Yeah, it's like when I say you're a henway.
so, anyway, guys, I got to run, but I
Yep.
appreciate being given the opportunity to be on. And if elected, I will probably, because you guys are in the know politically, I will probably try to glean wisdom from time to time from both of you. And so I can be just as informed and make good decisions, So,
You're invited to every meeting we have. As far as the GOP, you're always invited. And that's where I've learned most of this stuff, when our legislators come and educate our people. And there's something very special when somebody is actually seeking to understand and to make decisions based on that. And I wish you all the best with your election. I think Tooele City would be lucky to have you. And I'm grateful that you came on the show, and I'm also grateful for your wife and the work she does. So please give her our best, because we just love having.
I see her occasionally, so I'll let her know. But any help and promotions you can put out there in my behalf would be greatly appreciated. Because, like I said, I don't have a ton of money to put into this, nor do I want to put a ton of money into it, because that would be fiscally irresponsible. So, anything to get my name out there a little bit more,
Well, if you have a Facebook announcement or something with your picture and your name and what you're running for, and maybe some of the things that you are running on, the
There's
issues.
that postcard I sent you.
Yeah. Is it digital? Was it through text, or was it the legit postcard?
It was through text that I sent it to you, but my wife helped me make that.
Okay,
again,
so I will post that. I'll post that on our page here on Political Head Trauma, and then we'll also share it on the GOP pages.
So I will be putting a post on my personal Facebook page here shortly that I'm running, and just basically telling people, what are your concerns in the city? Just start the conversation. Let's go. There's no right or wrong answer. It's where you at, kind of a thing. So whether I'm elected or not, I will still be active in the community. Trying to keep up on political news, just county news, city news, all that stuff. But we'll see what happens. So
excellent.
And tell Jordan, we put a couple comments on there that thank you for his support.
All right, Spencer, everyone, that's Spencer Peck. Got his number in the comments, and we'll put him in the show notes. Also, his website. Thank you, Spencer, and you have a good night.
All right. Thanks, you guys. Appreciate it.
Bye.
Thank you, friend.
Bye-bye.
Well, we didn't get to quite a bit tonight, but it's always next week.
We could still go on for a little bit.
Well, I've got to shut this down here pretty soon too. So, I wanted to talk. They're doing a probe into Brennan and Comey about the Russiagate stuff. They're actually looking into that finally. God, we've gone to a weird place in this country. Antifa is ambushing law enforcement. Gosh, there's so much going on.
It feels like an organized insurrection against our federal government, and yet the left is not giving a peep. But you're telling the police, do not assist ICE if they call you. in fact, it's against the law. And San Diego PD in California, San Diego PD showed up at the pot farm where they found 8 kids, minors, unaccompanied, 8, working on that farm, which tells me that's probably the child trafficking thing. And those kids are probably lucky to be doing the labor instead of being in some hellhole of a sex ring or something. But that's what ICE has found. And someone started shooting at ICE agents.
Well, it's not just that. They had police officers ambushed in California last night. They had them ambushed twice in Texas in the last week. No, what this reminds me of.
Or police.
Yeah, police, ICE, law enforcement. What this reminds me of is I've never read the book, so it's in my list of books to read. But John Bagot Glove's Fate of Empires. And I've listened to and read synopsises on it. And he talks about, he studied as empires start to collapse, they start getting fractionalized and partisans and everything else. And then and I'm like, it's game time.
Yeah, I haven't read that.
But yeah, I do have to jump off here. But I think, I don't know. We'll be back next Friday. Hopefully it's news stories and this will all be forgotten about. Well,
next week we have a guest. We have 2 guests, actually. They're going to come on together. It's Brad Pratt and Kay Pratt. And they are going to talk about, Brad is running for mayor, and Kay of Tooele City, and Kay Pratt is going to talk about the executive order I told you about with our governor. So please tune in, and thank you all for viewing tonight. And I hope that you'll leave a comment, like and subscribe, and you'll get updates when we do our show Friday nights. And we really, really appreciate any comment you'll leave us. And if you've not done it yet, please like this video so that we can mess with the algorithm in YouTube and hopefully get more eyes on it and more engagement. We love you so very much, and we wish you a very happy July 11th and the weekend ahead. And we can't wait to see you next Friday, 6 o'clock. So tune in, guys. Bye.
All right, everyone. Have a wonderful weekend and a wonderful week. And